Okay, so hopefully you've actually listened to the little video on tone colour, and here's an example of how to actually create an answer. Now I'm showing you a couple of different versions. As I said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So we're talking about tone colour. Now tone colour can also be called, as I said in the last video, timbre, but it's also known as in questions as sound sources and performing media. So in a tone colour question, you need to look for, identify your instruments, you need to classify them, you need to explain them, you need to describe what they sound like using adjectives, and you need to talk about their range, register and roll. And don't forget, a way to remember it is on a hot day, what the doctor has ordered is ice for your drink. It's nice and cold. So just as a reinforcement, tone colour. We've got identify, we've got classify, explain, describe, and range, register and roll. Ice doctor, that's what you need to do. Don't forget, in these sorts of questions, I'd like you to use the You Are Tops method, which is underline. Read your question and read all the information around your page. Make sure you've got everything there. T is for topic sentence. O for organise your thoughts. P is for planning it. And S is for support, which is explaining all your terms as you go through. Again, we're talking about Ice Doctor this time, which is for tone colour. Okay, so your sample question might be, now as I said, discussing, when it's tone colour, it can also be called performing media or sound sources. So the question is, discuss the use of performing media in this excerpt. Now the piece of music I'm going to play for you is from a band called La Rumba, and it's a song called Margarita. So let's listen to a little bit and then we'll keep going. Takes a little while to start.
Margarita, yo te adoro. Margarita, yo te adoro. Y Margarita, y el amor no se gana con dinero. El amor no se gana con dinero, con dinero, con dinero. Y el amor viene medio. Ay, amor, 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 amor mío. Ay, amor, 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 amor mío. The chumba, the chumba, the
Okay, and that's about as much as we need to listen to on that piece. I think you get the idea. Okay, so in your first listening, you should write down your prompts, which is Ice Doctor, identify, classify, explain, describe, range, roll, register, and you put that somewhere on your page. Doesn't matter where it is, as long as it's written there so you can remember that you've ticked off for each instrument, this is what you're doing. You need to list all the instruments that you hear as they enter the song. Then you need to reread the question. Then, by the end of the excerpt, you should be writing a topic sentence for identify, and you should be starting to organise your answer. So you need to write your answer in dot points, and you should be supporting your answer by explaining each term as you go. So, first thing you need to do is identify. So identify each instrument used in each section. You may wish to draw up a table for these types of questions. Now, I've actually created a table with all the answers at the very end of the this little presentation, but I'm just going to go through and explain all the bits the other way for the moment. So you need, as said, identify each instrument used, and you might want to draw up a table. There's our little magnifying glass dude. He's making sure that he's keeping a check on you. Okay, so Our topic sentence says, the instruments used in this example of Spanish music include, I'll go back. Male baritone vocals, 2 acoustic nylon string guitars, a drum, which is a djembe, and a bass guitar. Now there's actually some sort of clapping sound in there as well, which you could also write down, and it's very common in Spanish music. Okay, we're going forward again. Classify. Then you need to classify each instrument into its appropriate group. So whether it's an aerophone, chordophone, membranophone, idiophone, electronics, or electronic sounds. Or you could classify them using the families from the orchestra: woodwind, brass, percussion, string, or electronic sounds. So to answer this part, you'd say something like, the topic sentence could be, the instruments can be classified as follows. Vocals, a male baritone, which is a mid-range male voice. I've explained that, and that's your supporting answer. There's acoustic nylon string guitars times 2, and they are both chordophones, and which means instruments with strings. Then you've got your bass guitar, which is electronic sounds. You could say chordophone as well, and instruments that means they are instruments that require electricity to amplify the sound, because otherwise they sound pretty dead without it. The last one there is djembe, which is a membranophone, an instrument with a skin or membrane stretched across the frame. As said, you could also put in that clapping sound as well if you'd like. Alrighty. Then you need to explain how each instrument makes a sound. So explain how each instrument is played, whether they are plucked or pizzicato, strummed, bowed, blown through, flutter tonguing in the case of a flute. There may be growling, a growling sort of sound being made and produced, often happens with saxophones. Are they sung, etc., etc. You need to list, as said, explain how they are done. So for this particular example, the instruments produce a sound with the following methods. So the vocals are sung. Now both the acoustic guitars, the lead one is pizzicato, which means pluck strings, as well as strumming, which is a rapid movement across all strings in an upward or downward motion. It's a long explanation for strumming, but if you give it, you'll get better marks. The bass guitar is plucked strings, okay, pizzicato, pluck strings, and the djembe is hit. And that's as much as you need to do for explaining how the sound is produced. The next bit is a little bit harder, describe. But you can't really get it wrong as long as it's justified and it makes sense. So you need to describe how each instrument sounds. Use any descriptive words here that you feel are appropriate. In other words, things like distorted, clean, majestic, bright, dull, muted, shrill, peaceful, tense, sleepy, etc., etc. It's up to you how you want to describe it, but try and use your imagination a bit here. So in this piece, when we're describing our instruments, the instruments all have a clean and true sound, as well as, now that's our topic sentence. Then I'm going to organise the answer and support it as I go. So vocals, they're resonating in full sound. Acoustic guitars, very clean and a crisp sound. Bass guitar is subtle and supportive. It's there, but it's not a dominant role. And djembe is a gentle rhythmic pulse. It just keeps that pulse going and drives the music forward. So here we go. Helps if I touch the little buttons so they wiggle. Okay, the last thing you have to do is discuss the range, register and roll. So you need to state the range of each instrument, whether it's narrow, wide or medium. You need to state the register of each instrument, treble or bass, and state the role of each instrument. Is it the melody, melodic accompaniment, rhythmic accompaniment, or it could even be keeping the beat. It's up to you what you want to do there. So for the answer, range, register and roll, the range or register and roll are as follows for each instrument. So the vocals have a wide range. They sing in the lower treble register, and it's the melodic roll, so they perform the melody. The acoustic guitar, both lead and rhythm, they have wide range, both of them, and they are in the treble register, and they are both melodic accompaniment. It's okay to group instruments if they have the same sort of purpose and same sort of role. And the bass guitar is a medium range, it has bass register, obviously because it's a bass guitar, and it's a melodic accompaniment and performs also the beat. If you have a listen, it actually is performing on the beat. And then, as I said, I'll click these little buttons. Then the djembe has a rhythmic accompaniment and beat. Now, another way you can do this is presented in a table. Now you can see in the last bits there's quite a bit there, but your table could look something like this. So you can see each heading up across the top, we've got identify, classify, explain, describe, role, range and register. And there's nothing wrong with doing your answer like this. The only thing I haven't done on this is actually explain what each part actually, like the pizzicato, I haven't explained and supported the terms, only because I haven't got enough room really to do so. So you can see the vocals. Male baritone, they're sung, they're resonating in full sound, their role is the melody, they have a wide range and lower treble register. And if I skip down to the djembe, because you can read all that yourself, and I've already gone through that information. Thing is with the djembe, because it's a percussion instrument and it's untuned, it obviously does not have a range or register. So we've got its membranophone, its hit, it has a gentle rhythmic pulse for its sound. Its rhythmic accompaniment is the roll, and obviously, as I said, the range and register are non-applicable. You can't actually have a range and register because they don't actually physically have one. Hopefully this has helped you in answering and creating an answer for a tone colour, performing media or sound sources question. Okay, that's it.